Hi, hello there everyone. I would like to address this particular topic because it has been ongoing for quite a while. There has been so much pushing, both politically and in a matter of global supply chain. We cannot isolate, of course, global supply chain from political maneuverings because, as we know it, it is always a connected, the dimension of connectivity between supply chain and politics or world politics. If you look back, then father of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Warren Roosevelt, say, was one of the business mogul, second to the British Empire when it comes to the business of drugs in China. China was very much of great interest to people from Europe because it is their um, market for drugs. They love China. They love Chinese because they made so much business out of them. So pag titingnan mo, there has been so much of this promise because at the time they enjoy the business with China, not China as the partner, but China as customer, consumer of all that they can bring in to China. And those were harmful drugs. And funny as it may seem, because the very person responsible for this drug dealing in China during the time was the very father of one of the presidents of the United States of America, the father of uh, President Roosevelt, Delano Roosevelt. The guy was Warren Roosevelt. And opium at the time was a great commodity that has given the old empire of Britain an edge in its growth and commerce, and its amassing of so much wealth was from that. But for Britain, it was not so much of China, partly yes, but the very country that gained so much business in terms of drugs in China was the United States of America because Warren Roosevelt was at a time in terms of business output of drugs. He was next to the British Empire. He would say, here's a man that by himself he can compete almost a country. He was kind of making a business competing against a country, and he was this alone. He was just one person and doing a business against a big country, which was at the time, of course, a powerful power to reckon with, the British society. And when I look back to that, Opium War was truly a complicated war between powers and even classes of people. China was so divided at the time because a lot of Chinese people were also profiteering from the drugs. So they sort of helping Americans to get their share because at the same time they're getting theirs. It was two way of making money. Americans selling it, Chinese pushing it. Those, of course, the Chinese who are involved in the drug industry. But for those who aren't, they fought so hard against it. So when you say America trying to get involved in China, because right now it is not a fight for control of the TARP for drugs. And at the time of the drug trade in China by Americans technically has been narrowed down. I will not say it's over, but there is an ongoing conflict today. It is a war that has been brought to surface by the needs of the United States, and this time around, it is the production by TSMC or the Taiwan Semiconductor Corporation. And this need had caused America to make strides politically and even commercially in terms of their involvement. They would even pursue a system of dismantling China's enterprise just to make a point that they are in control again of China, because China has been under the US manipulations in the past. Yes, you might have seen a lot about Japanese having control of China or the British having control of China, but look back deeper, America has been involved in China's affairs, and they had in control of the affairs of China. And when Chiang Kai-shek, of course, was defeated by Mao Zedong, you have to look back that was not only on the 1949 incident, but it was even from the early start, like let's say 1937. Mao Zedong had been, or Mao Zedong, as some would call him, has been defeating Chiang Kai-shek, and the American guy was Mr. Che. And you would find out that even after Mao Zedong was able to unseat then the government of China under Chiang Kai-shek, still the American recognized Chiang Kai-shek, not Mao Zedong. Why is that? Because the Americans has their faith that Chiang Kai-shek would be able to regain control of China, and they will also have the access, or they will also regain their access back to China. And you would find out that America is not only pushing democracy, but at the same time, it is pushing their own agenda that would advance only their interest. You have to be reminded about the Marshall Islands and the people there, the Bikini, yeah, the Bikini Island, that lagoon. In fact, the promotion of these bikini wears, this flimsy swimsuit, actually was a cover up of what happened in the Marshall Islands, because they were trying to make up some kind of fraud sort of covering to the incident that happened in Bikini Island. If you guys are knowledgeable about it, how they bombed the island for 12 years every day, they're dropping those kind of bombs just like what they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And the people there for so many years, they suffered from cancer, all sort of cancer, name it, because of so much exposure to radiation. They were actually used as guinea pigs, laboratory lab rats, as you call it. So America tried to cover all these things for many years. You can research the work of these people about the Marshall Islands and about the involvement of the United States of America and how people suffer because of them. You can look into that, and you can find out yourself how America used the people of the Marshall Islands to advance their research on how people who had been exposed to radiation would absorb or would be able to regain control, perhaps, of the body, or how the body of man would adapt into rejection, or some sort of that kind of thing. And they use people from Marshall Islands to make a conclusive result into that research. And so the same thing with China. China was used for a while to advance the interest of the United States of America. And before it was drugs. Today it's microchips. TSMC. And it's the old Formosa, now Taiwan. And America is trying to make leverage by using the Philippines as its some sort of platform to promote its ambitious goal to regain control over China, politically, perhaps. And right now they are using some sort of manipulation with a withdrawal of Foxconn, some other businesses from the US, transferring them to India, technically paralyzing the economy of China. Apple, for example, has removed many of its production sites. And with Foxconn out of business, China is in great trouble. Another problem in China today is also the withdrawal of the American productions of these electric vehicles. Yes, Tesla is in China. The production line of Tesla is in China. But we have to remember that Tesla is also an American company. And so America can do all sort of stuff just to paralyze China. The main point of America is for them to regain control of China's economy and even politics, for that matter. America, the most cunning, the most scheming of all the political power in the world. And in a simple term, it is just a rather manifestation of the British mentality, because Americans are British. They are they are Anglo-Saxons who came over to the land which is actually owned by the Red American Indians, the landowners of America. But these British who came over to their land pushed them out and claimed the land not theirs as their own. See, they are not Americans, they are British, and they came over. So right now, if there is a land still controlled, owned, and manipulated by the British, it is the American. That America is not of the white people, but of the red American Indians. The red Indians owns the land. Now America has it. See, Americans are also intending to do the same to China, to take control of China, because they have one interest in China, as they had one serious interest in the America before. Right? China is a target because China has so much deposit of the rare earth elements, and that is one thing that America need in the production of their super weapon and some other things that has got to do with the need of electronics functioning. Those things would need those rare earth elements. So China, America, it's not a war. There's no war. It is American trying to regain control of China. There is no war, but it will become a war because China is resisting this old ploy of the British people. Now we call them American. They're also British. Source of introduction. Some other nights, on some other occasion, I would have to go into detail of the simple things I'm bringing up this moment. Thank you, everyone.